The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to a normal edition / recap edition of the Phxiated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azalina, and I am joined by the president of the Dan Iasonia fan club, Regz. Your guy had a night tonight.
Him and that other jabroni at first base can take a hike.
Was it Carlson? I think it was Mark Carlson.
I don't care who it was. How can you be that bad at your job and be in the premier position in the playoffs?
Yeah. I sent you the message earlier. Iasonia was rated 79th out of 92 umpires this year. So I don't know how he gets on
exactly.
a playoff
How
crew.
do you have a job in a playoff crew?
And I want to be really fair off the bat. He was brutal on both sides tonight. Like, he was just bad all around.
But it's like that better or worse. It means he was twice as bad. It doesn't mean he was just bad for one side. It means
I just want it to be very clear that
Yeah.
we're not making an excuse for the
Right.
Phillies.
No, right.
That the Phillies lost tonight. I think on both ends, on both sides, and maybe more so for the Phillies with the way they've been going recently, an inconsistently umpired game can absolutely affect your ability to hit the baseball.
Yeah.
Not knowing what to swing at, not knowing what's a strike, what's not a strike. I'm anxious to see what he scored at on that umpire auditor tomorrow in terms of consistency.
Yeah.
Because it felt like sometimes that pitch up out of the zone was a strike, but the pitch in the zone and up wasn't a strike.
He missed just as many calls in the strike zone, I feel like, as he called things out of the strike zone.
So I'll be curious to see what the auditor comes with, because there are times where, like, the umpire truly is the difference in the baseball game. I didn't, from the naked eye, I didn't see him as the difference in tonight's game. He definitely impacted the game more so than he should, but I didn't see him as the difference in the game. We'll see what the auditor says tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head is.
Can we just make public how the Major League Baseball actually scores umpires? Because if you were to ask me, there's no system in place for accountability.
So it's interesting because Andrea went to that baseball women's 101 thing that the Phillies do.
Yeah.
And they got to meet with an umpire. And the umpire said that after every game, they get a report on how they did. And that's pretty much it.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, because if there were accountability measures, I don't know how the 79th rated umpire in baseball
makes a playoff. There's only 2 series left, Azzy. There's only 2 crews out there.
That's what I mean. There are 12. Well, they have a rotation that, like, one guy is always out.
Right.
So I think Iasonia is not on the field tomorrow, but there are 14 umpires out of 92 remaining.
Yeah, exactly.
How are the top 14 not the 14?
How can this not be figured out?
And I'm not saying umpire auditor is what the scores should be rated on, but if he's number 79 on that, he's not in the top 14.
And also, Major League Baseball should have these ratings available. Why can't we know who the top 14 are? And then why can't we ask, why aren't the top 14 guys making up the playoff crews?
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
I
don't know who has the plate.
I could care less.
I don't know who has the plate tomorrow.
How many postseasons he's umpired or how many World Series he's umpired. Give me the guys who are the most accurate and the most consistent.
Yeah.
Who cares how many playoff games they've umpired?
Yeah. I don't care about their experience in the moment.
Who cares?
That certainly didn't benefit him.
Exactly.
Right? I'm looking to see here. So it's whoever wasn't on. No, I was wrong. So it's whoever wasn't on the field tonight will be the home plate umpire tomorrow.
Well, thank God it's not that guy at first base.
So, it was Lance Barksdale that was at. So all right, I'm going to read you names, and then I'm going to read you who was there tonight. You got to help me figure out what the missing name is tonight.
Okay.
So the crew on Monday night or Tuesday night was Carlos Torres behind the plate, Mike McClinsky at first base, Lance Barksdale was at second, so he was at first tonight. Trip Gibson was at third. Adam Hamari was in left. Andy Fletcher wasn't right. My assumption is Hamari or Fletcher were probably out tonight. So notice the name that was missing was Dan Iasonia.
Mm-hmm.
So he got the plate tonight. So then tonight, Iasonia behind the plate, Barksdale at first, Gibson at second, Hamari was at third, Fletcher was in left, Torres was in right.
The Manta whatever guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't there. I don't know how he did this year behind the plate. McClinsky.
Yeah.
All right. At some point while you're talking, I'm gonna look that up just to
I could even start doing it.
All right, you look that up. We're gonna get back to our Phillies discussion in a little bit. We're gonna dive into the Eagles to start, since this is our normal episode, and then we'll go back into the Phillies, recap it, and look at tomorrow's game, including how Mike McClinsky has done this year as the umpire behind the plate, how he's rated out. All right, so some good news for the Eagles, Regz. As you look at this big matchup coming off of a really difficult loss, was the injury report coming out of camp today, or coming out of practice today. Huge, just absolutely enormous news from that lens. Let me just read it off to you. Milton Williams was a full practice. Marlon Tuipiloto, full practice. I get better and better at that name every time.
You do. You're doing great.
Darius Slay, full practice. Eli Ricks, full practice. Sidney Brown, full practice. Devontae Smith, limited practice. Lane Johnson, limited practice. Dallas Goedert, limited practice. Jalen Carter, limited practice. Bradley Roby, Reed Blankenship did not practice. They also released Mario Goodrich. They outrighted him pretty much on the waivers and signed Josiah Scott to come back. My assumption is that Scott will probably start in the slot this week, with Bradley Roby looking like he's not going to play. It also looks like Reed Blankenship will not play. Obviously tomorrow is the big one, but if he didn't practice today, it's likely that they're not going to play. However, the good news is they get 3 defensive backs. Looks like they're going to be back. The big one being Darius Slay.
Yeah.
You could not go into this game against these 2 receivers on the outside with Josh Jobe playing the outside. Like you cannot have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle against either one of them against Josh Jobe.
Yeah.
Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
So big news, and I think the biggest news of all of it is Lane Johnson. I mean, the enormity of him being able to play this week, just for the offense's sake, because the Dolphins can give up points, Rex.
Yes.
Like
their defense is nothing crazy.
You can score on them. However, you're not going to score on them if Lane Johnson isn't playing. So there were videos of him today. He looked good. He looked like he was moving on the ankle well. This guy is unbelievable, Regs.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. I don't know what else to say about him. Any thoughts on the injuries? Or, you're just feeling good about where they're at? Obviously, Reed hurts. Your leading tackler hurts.
Reed is tough. At least Sidney looks like he full practice, so at least he'll be back. Like, you just need some more athleticism and kind of something back there. Not having Reed back there in this game in particular really kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Because even though Reed's not a great coverage guy, like he's shown to be probably the best one that they have. So that's tough. I think looking at the list, it's a long list because a lot of people got injured last game. Like it's just it was just a long list coming out of that game of guys who got hurt. I think
unbelievable.
The most important things is that Devontae is okay.
Yeah.
That Lane is okay. That's like you said, that's the biggest one. And the other ones, like you said, Slay being okay.
Yeah.
After that, it's like, obviously not having your starting safety is no fun, but you really just need
your starting nickelback that you just signed.
Yes. Who came in and played well when you were kind of bleeding the other, So
Yeah.
it's good. I'm just all I really cared about was Lane being okay, I think.
Well, I cared, yeah, for sure, Lane, but also with this game now turning into like I don't want to call it a must win, but it becomes a little bit more important now.
Yeah.
After losing a game that you shouldn't have lost,
Yeah.
this game becomes very important, and you're not winning this game if Darius Slay isn't playing.
Yeah.
It's honestly that simple.
Yeah.
Like, you're not winning this game with Josh Jobe on the outside against Waddle and Hill. It's
Right.
like there's no way.
Right.
I don't know that you win this game with Slay and Bradbury, but we'll talk about, that matchup as we continue. Real quickly before we kind of dive into more of the personnel stuff, the Kelly Greens debuting this week.
That's right.
I think I'm gonna go get one. I think I'm gonna go get a jersey.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I think it's time.
My Attaboy shirt came in. I'm very happy.
I saw that.
Very
Yeah, I
happy
saw
about
that.
it.
Saw that. I also have to order mine. I got to ask you about the fit
Yeah.
because I was worried about that small, medium. Like, I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do. You could tell me the material that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go buy a jersey tomorrow. Tomorrow or Saturday. Yeah, I just haven't decided who yet. I think probably Kels. I think I'm gonna go with Kels. I think that's the right
That's a
call.
good one.
I think, like, right, you go with a legend. You don't go
yeah.
with like
You definitely want something that's gonna stick.
It's either if they have a Lane one floating around, I'd probably be interested in that one too.
Yeah.
Like guys like that, like Fletch, like BG, like those are the guys I think that like I wear. They're more like our college years that have just been here.
Yeah.
BG's been here since we were in college, man. Like,
yeah.
He's basically our age, still playing at a high level. It's pretty unbelievable. So that's sort of who I'm looking at. Excited to see the Kelly Greens in person, and I really hope they make do with it. Let's quickly talk about a new addition. We've been so fixated, pun intended, on this idea of adding secondary help. What does Howie go do? He adds to the receiver room. Now, part of me believes this is a Quez Watkins sort of situation, right? They know something's going on there and wanted to add to the room, but this is not who I anticipated. Possible. I guess I have to look a little more at his numbers, but it feels like he's heading for the Hall.
Yeah, he was really, really good for a while.
Yeah, for a long time, right? In a place where, he had Matt Ryan and pretty much nobody else.
Right.
What was it? Sanu was the other receiver, I think, when he was there. But Julio Jones, man. Now, clearly not the same guy.
Yes.
As he was. However, if you ask him, he says, watch, just hang on and watch.
That's right.
Now, let's be fair to Julio Jones. After the Matt Ryan situation sort of dissipated and he declined in Atlanta, he was moved to Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
I think we all know what that's like in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Like Ryan Tannehill, not very good. I'm curious, like, to see what his role is going to be. I at least for a moment in time thought, well, maybe they got him to put him out there outside this week specifically because of Devontae, but Devontae's playing. Like he said, I'll be out there on Sunday.
Yeah.
So look, there aren't a lot of touches to go around in this offense, right? We know that. It's already a crunch every week. Zacchaeus has been fine in his limited role. I've actually really liked what he's done. And I think he's outplayed Quez Watkins to this point. But adding Julio Jones, and again, he's not the same player, but it at least, like, if he shows out even a little bit or still shows he can get open, he's probably playing against the team's third best corner, maybe fourth best corner in some situations, maybe a safety or linebacker if you scheme it up well enough. Then it's just another pawn to have to figure out against this offense that has plenty of pawns as it is.
Yeah.
And clearly it hasn't been the offense we expected. They've played good defenses to this point. They really haven't had a break in terms of, like defenses.
Yeah.
I think the only one was, honestly, I don't even know that there was one, Regz. I'm trying to like think, was there a bad defense to this point? And I don't know that there was.
I mean, the Vikings.
Yeah, and they put up 35 against them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might be the only one. Every other defense is a well coached, well run, tough defense. So including the Commanders. So I'll be curious, sort of, to see, what they do against the Miami defense that can give up some points. But your thoughts on Julio Jones, his role, like what exactly is Julio here to do?
I think you hit it on the head. I think it's just to see if a guy with that name going up against not the best corner on the opposing team, like if he can get open 3-4 times, like really open, like just proving that he's just a lot better than the guy across from him, you kind of have to do something, right? And that puts the defense in a position where, like, who are we going to help off of? Like, what are we going to do here? Because you still have to account for AJ, Devontae, and Goddard. So as much as like Zacchaeus might get open once or twice, or he might take the top off, the defense once in a while, he's not like crushing you every route and going to be open all the time, that like you have to sort of figure out what you're going to do. I think they're just looking for something. They're just looking for a little edge that gets those other guys more open. So if he just gets really open 4 times a game, like really open, and like, maybe Jalen hits him twice in a row because he's just cooking the guy across from him, then like you have to do something as a defense, right? You have to do something, and then hopefully that just opens it up for one of your studs. Like that's just how I see this.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because like those, like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith get open a lot on their.
Yes, they do.
And Julio Jones did that really well in his career for a long time. He just got open on his own. I wonder, my other thought is like, are they thinking about getting creative in terms of who's in that slot? Like, I don't know that Julio can play outside anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's too hard to know until we see him play.
Yeah.
But they could get like creative there, because honestly, like Devontae Smith against a third corner, a linebacker, a safety just feels absolutely unfair.
Yeah.
Now teams that are more zoned out, that doesn't necessarily make a difference at the end. But I don't know. I'm just curious to see. And look, he could honestly not see the field a whole lot at all. Like, I don't know. He might just be another veteran to put in there because AJ Brown respects him, and like they want to just have the veteran in the room at this point. But if you bring a guy like Julio Jones in, it feels like you bring him for a purpose.
Yeah, and maybe it is the like that he reads something that Zacchaeus isn't going to, and makes a determination, like he sits somewhere where he's supposed to, as opposed to maybe Zacchaeus takes 4 more steps and then is in the wrong spot. Like it's going to be little things. It's not going to be him blowing the doors off of a defense, but it's going to be little things. If he's just able to get open more often, then that just gives Jalen options. Doesn't mean he's going to throw it to him 12 times. It just means that, like, if a defensive coordinator is looking at his iPad and he's like, geez, like Julio's getting really open like a lot of these times. I know they're not hitting him every time, but he's getting really open. Like I just feel like that's it. It's just going to be little stuff that they're hoping can make them incrementally better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, again, I feel like when you look at his numbers last year with the Titans in comparison to Quez Watkins' numbers last year as the number 3 here in Philly, he was exponentially better. I think he rated out, he was in the top 100 at least, which for a third receiver feels fine.
Yeah.
Whereas Quez was like second to last in every stat.
Yeah.
For wide receivers. So I don't know if he's going to see a lot of the field on Sunday night. He started practicing yesterday. He's a veteran, so depending on the role, you might see him on the field. If not, you'll definitely see him next week against the Commanders. So we'll wait and see on Julio Jones, but still pretty cool. Like that Julio Jones is like, that's,
yeah,
it's cool just in name alone, at least. So we'll see what happens, but big game on Sunday night.
It is important.
The 5-1 Miami Dolphins coming to town, lead the AFC East. A division that the Eagles just, lost the game to. So, they're 1-1 against the AFC East this year. They'll have one more after this, with the Bills. So, let's just quickly talk about the Dolphins and sort of what they bring to the table. So they're, like I said, 5-1. They opened the season in LA against the Chargers, won that game 36-34. So it was a close one, tight one. Then they went to New England the following week, won 24-17. Hosted the Broncos in week 3. That's when they scored 70. They won 70-20. Went to Buffalo and got their doors blown off in Buffalo, 48-20.
Yeah.
That's the tape you want to watch, right?
Yeah.
That's the tape you want to watch. And that Buffalo defense, like, that's an interesting defense. I don't know that there's necessarily like a ton of huge names there.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been scored on a bunch themselves. So curious to, I might have to check out that all 22 and just see. It was also in Buffalo, which is not an easy place to play.
Yes.
And then they beat the Giants 31-16 to go to 4-1. And last week they beat the Panthers 42-21 to go to 5-1. So let's look at their numbers.
Giving up 21 to the Panthers feels like a lot. The Panthers aren't very good.
Well, we're going to talk about their defense here in a moment, but let's start with the offense, okay? Because this is something else. Total yards per game, 505.7, which is first in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 316.8, first in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 181.8, first in the NFL. Points per game, 37.2, first in the NFL. Third down percentage, 44%. Oh my gosh. Not first in the NFL.
Oh.
Seventh in the NFL.
Slackers.
Yeah, unbelievable. We'll quickly just briefly look at their defense, and then we're going to talk about what makes their offense so good. Their defense, total yards allowed per game, 367, 24th in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 229.2, 19th in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 114.5, 20th in the NFL. Points per game, 26 points per game, 26th in the NFL. And third down percentage, 41, 20th in the NFL. So they're like bottom third in pretty much every defensive category, but they're able to outscore you. So let's talk about what makes them so difficult. Obviously, the guys on the outside, insanely talented.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are, you know, we talk about A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith being the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. If they're not, these two are.
Yeah.
Is that a stretch?
Oh, yeah. No, not at all.
And what makes them so good is how freaking fast
they're terrifying.
So, Regz, I know it frustrates us. I know it drives us crazy. But Darius Slay and James Bradbury are going to be about 15 yards off for good reason.
Yeah, I know. I'm not advocating trying to push up on Tyreek Hill. Let me just preface that. I'm not advocating that. It's when we're doing it against like the Jets on 3rd and 5 and we're standing 7 yards, off the receiver. That's when it makes me a little perturbed. But in this case, I get it. I understand. I think just I don't know. I don't know how we in particular are going to stop these guys. I think the only thing you can hope for is don't let them get over the top on you. Don't jump routes. Like, don't bother. Just keep them in front of you. Tackle. And hope that your D-line can get some hands into his face, and make his throws a little bit more difficult. Because if he's got time back there, I'm not sure how our secondary stops these guys. Like, nobody stopped them. One team has stopped them, but we're not in Buffalo, No. So I think that's our only shot, really.
Yeah. So just for shits and gigs here, Tyreek Hill through 6 games has 42 receptions for 814 yards. That's absurd.
Yeah. Who's that? That's only behind Jefferson, right? Who had
Is it even behind Jefferson at this point?
Well, maybe not now, but maybe it was.
I don't know. I mean, he's 814 yards through 6. He's averaging 20 yards a catch, Regz.
Yeah, that's absurd. It's just stupid.
Jalen Waddle, 24 catches for 296 yards. Here's the one thing I will say. And look, the Eagles' run defense has been incredible this year. But Devon,
He's ahead by almost 140 yards from
well, Justin also didn't play last week.
AJ.
So.
AJ's in second.
Okay. Here's the other thing to kind of consider here. Devon Achane, who was the starting running back for the Dolphins, is hurt.
Yes.
Raheem Mostert is still a very talented running back.
He also leads the league in touchdowns. Tyreek Hill.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you're dedicating 2 guys to Tyreek Hill this week.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You're dedicating to Darius Slay's incredible, but
absurd.
This is a different type of receiver than Justin Jefferson. Jefferson's an elite route runner with, he's got great speed. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill's speed.
No.
Tyreek Hill's literally nicknamed Cheetah.
Yeah, nobody does. Nobody has his speed.
There's a reason, right? Like, there's a reason.
It's absurd.
So yeah, the run game has been super helpful. But I do trust the Eagles' rush defense. I do. I continue to trust them. You mentioned, though, getting pressure with your front four on Tua. Regz, he leads the NFL in time to throw this year.
Yeah.
He averages over 2.5 seconds per drop back.
Yeah.
That's pretty ridiculous.
And I think, look, it's very similar to the Eagles, though. It's because their routes take a long time to develop because they have the talent and the guys who can get open 15 to 20 yards down the field. They're not a dink and dunk team. Like, they're just not.
No.
So,
no, but I wouldn't be surprised. Mike McDaniel,
he's a smart guy. He's a good offensive coach. Like,
he's going to know that he can throw slants and still beat them.
Right, because they're going to be playing 8 yards off. Yeah.
And not just be able to catch the ball, but because of their speed, get into the open field and hurt the Eagles.
Yeah.
So
you have to.
It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't feel like it's going to be like the Jets game where this is like a 15-14 kind of game.
No, we're going to have to score.
Yes, we're going to have to try and match them, and just hope that once or twice our D line can make something difficult. I think it's been the thing. They're getting some sacks. They're obviously putting pressure, but we're yet to see the big turnover or the big, sort of momentum swinging play.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously sacks are great in certain situations. Hassan had a huge sack, in the Jets game, to kind of get him away from scoring a touchdown in one of those drives where we turned it over. But you're like, could we just get maybe like a tip ball that falls into our hands once, during a game? Can we get like a strip sack and fall on the ball one of these times to kind of give us good field position and get an easy touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
I would just love for one of those things to start kind of swinging our way.
So just because I think this is important to say, I feel like this was said a lot about the Eagles last year, and you know how I feel about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. They've played one team with a record over 500 so far.
Yeah.
And it was the Bills. And they got their doors blown off.
Mm-hmm.
The other team that they played that's close to 500 is the Chargers, and they won by 2. So, the Patriots are 1-5. The Giants, we already know, 1-5. Not a good football team. We know that. And like you said, the Panthers, the worst team in football at 0-6.
Yes.
So, again, I'm not sitting here. I don't want you win the games that are on your schedule. We talk about this with the Eagles all the time. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're putting up these types of numbers against teams that are out there. The one game they lost, they put up 20 against the Bills, who I think the Eagles are on par in terms of their defense, especially up front. And I actually think the Eagles have a better secondary than the Bills do. So Tua was sacked 4 times in that Bills game. He threw a pick.
Mm-hmm.
They scored on the ground twice. Here's where they got the Miami defense. It wasn't running the football. Stephon Diggs had 3 touchdowns in that game.
He was going nuts.
So you got to exploit whatever matchup that was.
Yeah.
Because you've got a Stephon Diggs. You've got 2 guys who are as talented as Stephon Diggs with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Diggs is probably in that more of that A.J. Brown tier, right? But Devontae's not super far off that tier. I know what happened last week in the Jets game. I watched it, but that was so out of character for him.
Yeah.
He's in that next tier, just underneath them, but he's at the top of that tier.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you've got two guys who can do damage. You don't just have one dude who can do damage. So you've got to exploit them on the offensive side throwing the football. And look, I know Jalen had 50 dropbacks last week and we were screaming and yelling about it. But that's a really good front, a really good defense. I understand Sauce didn't play, but Jalen still had some balls on the money that were dropped. The Eagles are going to have to catch footballs this week.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. They're going to have to catch footballs.
Yeah. It does feel like we should be able to run it much better on this team.
We might.
Than we did against the Jets.
We might. And you might see them run the football this week. Like that might be part of the game plan.
But
week.
again, I think you have to use it to set up your passing game. Like it just has to be what you do.
Well, we'll see. I think, again, it's going to be the total's 51.5. That's where Vegas has which is, I think it's the highest of the week. I quickly looked. I'm going to take another look here, but your thoughts, 51.5, a 2.5 point spread with the Eagles being favored, which is wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
But it's that home field. We talk about it all the time. You get an automatic 3 points for that. So they're basically saying the Eagles are 3 points. This is an even game on a neutral site.
Right.
So what do you got?
I'm going to say Eagles win. And I'm going to say, 31-24.
Okay. It is, just so we are clear, it is the highest total of the week, but there's a 48.5 point total. That is Chiefs Chargers, which makes sense.
Yeah.
In Kansas City. Okay. I too have the Eagles winning 28-24. I do think that they scored late to take the lead though. I think Jalen is going to have a much better game.
I think they all need to come out upset with what just happened.
Oh, they're definitely going to be upset. It would be beautiful if they had if they just blew the
doors off. Yeah.
That would just that would make everybody feel so much better.
Oh,
that would put us all in such a better headspace. So, okay, yeah, it was a fluke. What happened against the Jets was a fluke. We can all move.
Yeah.
That's what that would be for us.
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Dolphins have been blown out this year. It's not impossible. It's not the 80 Bears or whatever they are, right? Like, that's not what we're talking about here.
No,
it's not
at all.
The early 90s Cowboys. Like,
yeah. This
they're
team's beatable. They're beatable.
Really good offense.
Yeah,
they're very good offense.
Yes. But they are beatable.
Yeah. So go out there and win the freaking game. Just you talk about accountability and you talk about, winning games that you're supposed to win and everybody has their job and rent's due and all this stuff. And I love it. I'm all for it. Like I'm there for it. But you just had a really embarrassing loss.
Yeah.
Like the most embarrassing loss of the Sirianni regime. I put that over the blowout in the playoffs against the Bucs.
That
you weren't supposed to win that game anyway.
Right.
But this was the most embarrassing loss that they've had, like by far, because of the turnovers, because of the drop.
From top to bottom, it was the whole team.
The self-inflicted wounds from start to finish.
Yeah, the whole team played bad.
This is the game where you bounce back and you say, look, it was one of those days. And we're good now.
Yeah.
And then everybody in Philly can take a deep breath and say, all right, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Let's move along. I do believe that Jet game can be a turning point of the season. That being said, it could be a turning point either way.
Yeah.
It's which way they're going to turn. So we'll see come Sunday night. I do love that it's a Sunday night game. I'm pretty fired up for that. I like that. You get all your stuff done, then you get to settle in for a nice.
I haven't not been able to watch an Eagles game this year. I've been stoked. It's the best.
Yeah, well, they're usually on primetime. I mean, I think they have one more 1 o'clock Commanders in 2 weeks.
It's been great.
And then after that, it's more 4:30 and 8 o'clock games.
Yep.
So it's just the nature of the beast when you're one of the more talented teams.
Been loving the fact that I get to watch them.
But what's fun about this team also, like two of them showed up at Game 2 the other night, and there's been videos floating around.
How
Terrell
great was
Edmonds
that
and
video?
DeAndre Swift. Dude, it's like they didn't even know what baseball was.
For as bad as Terrell Edmonds is as a football player, he's a great baseball commentator.
I
He's
mean,
hilarious.
They were hilarious.
Really good. And just the fact that, like, it was out of just pure sort of unknown and then just like pure joy that stadium brought them. Like, it was just, they were just amazed by what was going on.
Yeah, well, both of them, this is their first year in Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know DeAndre Swift grew up in Philadelphia, but he clearly didn't grow up a baseball.
No. Yeah.
Based on that video.
Yeah.
He did not grow up a baseball fan. Like, cause just they're like they're sort of like naive thoughts.
Yeah.
Throughout
It was
the video.
great. I love
made me laugh.
I love when Edmonds asked how many games do they play, and you could tell Swift was going to answer something, but he had no idea what the answer was.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're not going to catch me in a lie." He's like, "I have no idea."
Yeah, they were so pure.
So
like,
great. Yeah, it was like really
and they
funny.
didn't even know who Kyle Schwarber was.
Right.
They were like, this dude looks like he's gonna like hit a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, oh, it's the same dude who hit the home.
Yeah.
I didn't even know his name.
And then they were getting into like Stott's song, and like it was great.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, like but like for two athletes who are new to the city,
Yeah.
what a cool experience. Like in the one I sent you today, the longer one, they were like, yeah, I think we're gonna come back.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I gotta get back here. Yeah.
Yeah. So just I mean, that's cool for the Phillies, that's cool for the Eagles, it's cool for the city. It's cool for two guys who, haven't been here.
Yeah, and they were in it. They were front row. Like, they weren't sitting up in a suite. They were in it.
They were right down there. Yep. But a really fun game for you to be at, fun game for all those fans to be at. We didn't do a recap episode. We're really not. We're just going to say what it was, an absolute dismantling of the Diamondbacks. I mean, the Phillies found a second gear in game 2 and ran with it. I don't know if there's anything you want to add. I mean, I know it was a nightmare getting into, but aside from that, like just any reaction to the game.
Thank God they won, or else I would.
And Aaron Nola.
Yeah. Thank God they won, or else I would have been in a terrible mood probably until right now. Secondly, yes, we have to talk about Aaron Nola just a little bit. We have to mention it. His ability to completely change the fact that he gave up, I think it was either one single and a double to lead off innings, and got out of it without them scoring any runs. Just completely sort of flipping the script on what had been his entire season. Is as soon as anybody gets on first base, walk, hit, didn't matter. It went to hell. Like, it just unraveled. And even if he didn't get out of it, he'd have to throw 30 plus pitches because he'd walk the next guy, and then maybe he'd get an out, and then, something else would happen, and blah, blah, blah. So he'd go from cruising at 30 pitches, and then he'd leave the inning with 55. And you're like, well, there goes another inning that he's going to pitch. He went out there. He was fantastic. He did not let runners on base bother him. It was kind of looking back at it, it was a bummer that he kind of went out and then they scored a bunch of runs. So we didn't get to kind of send him off the field like we have been, like the fans have been doing, where Topper comes and gets him and we get to sort of thank him for his work. But it was fantastic. Every time he needed to get a big out, he got it.
Yeah, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. And I think the number that sticks out, right? Like Aaron doesn't walk a lot of guys in general, even like this season with his struggles, he didn't walk, but when he did, it bit him.
Yeah.
Whatever adjustment he made mechanically has changed everything. I think the thing for me that was most impressive is I know it was only 3 base runners the whole, but the fact that they didn't run on him at all, because he mixed up that slide step, he mixed up his timing. You could tell when Carroll got on base, he was very hesitant.
Yeah.
You could tell he couldn't decide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was really having a hard time deciding whether or not he should go. And this is a dude who stole 54 bases this season. And he just could not make up his mind.
Yeah.
And that's a credit to Aaron Nola's ability to slide step sometimes, but not all times.
Mm-hmm.
Hold the ball on varied counts. Throw over at different times. He just did a really nice job. But the composure for sure was just it was a real breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
From him. And of course the offense did what it's been doing at home basically all postseason. It cooked, man. Like Schwartz had the 2 bombs. Turner was on base 3 times. Harp was on base twice. Bomer had the big double late. Well, I shouldn't call it a big double. They were up 8-0, but he hit the ball hard.
Yeah,
3
right.
times. Stott had 2 cheap hits, which carried over. Romuto he's the one who had the big hit.
Yeah, that one was the big one.
That was the big hit. Cassidy walked and got on base that way, and then B had the other big hit in that inning with JT. And we won't mention the 9-hitter because he's pretty much just non-existent. So it was a good night, and then obviously they got and Strami some work. He looked just totally terrible. And then Kirkring came in the 10-0 and struck out 3, which I think was sort of a misleading
foreshadowing.
Yeah, it was like a misleading moment for Topper.
Yep.
And part of the reason for tonight. So let's jump into tonight unless there's anything else that you want to.
Nope. Let's jump into it.
All right, so let's dive into tonight. Starting with the top of the first. Well, let's go here. Let's go with the starting pitching matchup first. And begin with Ranger Suarez, who, he didn't have any good outings against the Diamondbacks this year. He did not look great against them, but postseason Ranger is a very different beast. The guy just comes out and does exactly what he needs to do. Against Brandon Pfaadt, I'd been pronouncing his name incorrectly, and I apologize for that. He's now my daddy as a result of that. That's on me, all of Philadelphia. I apologize. So his numbers looked pretty bad from a regular season standpoint. And here's why. He came up in May, and really had some rough outings. He had outings of 7 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs, had a couple of 3 runs, but a bunch of really high numbers. So they sent him back down. No, actually they kept him up, through August. He got better as August went along. Outings of 1 run, 4 runs, 3 runs, no run, 2 runs, had 1 outing at the end of August. September, again, pretty good. 3 runs, 4 runs, 2 outings with none, and then an outing of 5. And it looks like some of these rough outings, as I look at it, were on the road. He struggled on the road. He was really good at home, which seems to be a trend with their starting pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good at home, but struggle on the road. And that was the case for Brandon Pfaadt. So that was your matchup for tonight. I know a lot of people were thinking, including us, we talked about it on the show, that they would get to him. But like the Phillies, we had not seen Brandon Pfaadt pitch. And tonight we did, and we saw some of the reason why he's difficult, at least now. So going to our summary, the Phillies went 1-2-3, sort of 1-2-3 in the first inning. They did get a broken bat single, but then Bryce grounded into a 4-6-3 to end the inning. Ranger came out, did the same thing, 2 strikeouts in the inning, a beautiful play by Alec Boehm. If he doesn't make that play, Marte doesn't make an out tonight, I don't think. Beautiful play by Boehmer there, though. Top of the second, same thing, 1-2-3 inning, 2 strikeouts, Phils, but we're going to get to Stott. Not yet. We're going to get to him in a bigger spot and talk a little bit more about that. In the bottom of the second, the Diamondbacks did get a runner, a 2-out base runner, when Gurriel hit what looked like a routine fly ball.
Yeah.
Rojas was not seeing the ball in the air really tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious it was the first time he had ever played there. Like it was
in the dome.
Right.
Yeah.
I
honestly, I don't know that he's played in the dome at all yet.
Because the other one, the one that Moreno hit was a much more catchable ball than it looked like when it happened.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he really just kind of missed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when the announcers were saying it, I was like,
Well,
God, that didn't
first
look
of all,
like
I thought it
catchable.
was crushed. I thought it was long gone.
So I never thought it was out.
Oh, really? I thought as soon as he hit it, I was like, bye-bye.
No, I never thought it was out. And you know, I said that's all. I think immediately off the bat, I said that's off the wall.
Yeah.
But I never thought it was
It didn't
out.
even touch the wall. It dropped. It hit.
No, I hit the wall.
The bottom of it, but like.
Yeah, it got to, but it got to the wall.
Yes.
I mean, he hit it to the wall.
But not uncatchable.
Yeah. No, but Ranger, of course, being Ranger, makes one more pitch and he's out of the inning.
Yeah.
The Phillies come up, pretty much do the same thing, but Casty, Rojas, and Schwarber all strike around the Brandon Marsh double. So they leave a 1-out double.
Such a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, right now, Regz, like with Rojas there, it's
almost
it's an out, man. Yeah. It's an out. And I understand the big outfield, but tonight it didn't even help him.
Do we talk about your point from before we started now, or do you want to say
Not yet? We're gonna get there.
Right.
Bottom of the third, they get Rivera. I actually thought that ball off the bat, the Rivera line drive in the third inning.
Yeah. See, this is a weird one because I had to go to a baseball practice, so I had an AirPod in during practice as I was coaching, listening to the game. This is a weird one from the jump. I feel like you said, this is on you. Like I wasn't in my same spot. Like everything was wrong today. Everything was wrong.
Well, I don't think it's on anybody but the Phillies, but we'll see tomorrow if that changes, because we'll both. I'm not gonna wear my Garrett Stubbs t-shirt tomorrow.
I'm wearing my Attaboy shirt. But I'm
going back to what's worked for me.
I will be in my spot on the couch where I've been for every other game. Yeah.
Maybe I should go back to California or Wichita.
These were the first these are the first pitches that I've missed of the playoffs.
It was just a weird night. But with 2 outs, Ketel Marte, who's just an impossible out, doubled, and then he got Corbin Carroll to ground. Phillies come up in the top of the fourth, strikeout from Turner. Harper rolled over, and boom, hit a weak fly ball to Tommy for the end of the inning. Bottom of the fourth, more of the same. Ranger kind of worked through it. Christian Walker walked, but around that, he got a ground out, a strikeout. So, pretty quiet through 4. Pretty quiet all game offensively. Stott led off, popped up. Realmuto flew out. Castellanos struck out. And then again in the 5th, a 1-2-3 inning from Ranger, just sort of cruised. Fly out from Longoria, and then a strikeout, and then a strikeout. And then we were kind of debating, do you bring him back out? What do you do? They definitely wanted some length tonight.
Yeah.
And certainly he gave him all he could give him.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 6th, again, Fott strikes out Marsh, gets Rojas to strike out, and then out of nowhere, they pull him.
Yeah.
And we're texting like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, right.
But Adam sent me his numbers the third time through the order. So if you give me a moment here,
I think it was just like, that's everything and more you ask from that guy.
Yeah. But you're about to hear why.
Yeah.
You're about to hear why. Third time through the order versus Brandon Fott during the regular season. Average 397. OBP 413. Slugging 779. 8 doubles and 6 home runs. That's the why, Regz.
Damn it. Leave him in.
That's the why, buddy. That's the why. So they bring in this was the inning I got frustrated. Up to this point, I was like, you know what? Like, if you lose, they have to win this game. They have to win this game. Plain and simple. The Diamondbacks need this game far more than the Phillies need. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Okay. That cannot be stressed enough. But I felt like when he came out, this was their chance.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you where I got frustrated. So Schwarbs walks.
Yep.
And walks on 5 pitches. And quite frankly, the way that this game was being called, strike one on the 3-0 could have been ball four.
Yeah.
It was a strike, but the way it was being called, it
Right.
could have been ball. And then Trey comes up, takes a pitch for a ball, and swings at a pitch that was borderline strike, but not a pitch to swing at after a dude came in and threw 5 of 6 pitches for balls.
Yeah.
And I was immediately annoyed. I was like, what are we doing?
Right. It was all
Why?
Yeah. This was all night. Their at-bats weren't good.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't good.
It was a different offense.
From top to bottom, they weren't good.
The different offense.
They weren't patient. They were jumpy. They were trying to not one person was just trying to get something started.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very different
a lot
offense.
of big swings, for no reason, getting blown away by 93. You know what I mean? Being late on 92.
Right.
And I don't know if it's like you said, maybe they thought they had to swing because who knows what's going to be called a strike or what isn't. I don't know. Just top to bottom, the at-bats were not good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a couple of things I want to touch on as we go that could be deemed excuses, but could be real reasons why they did struggle, and talk about that after we get through the recap here. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, and Ranger is facing. I did like Topper bringing him back out here. I thought the only guy who made good contact off him all night, and other than that, he was getting soft contact from everyone.
Yeah.
So I liked it, with the caveat of we got to get Ketel Marte out.
Yeah.
If we get Ketel Marte out, then he's going to get through the 6th inning, and we're going to be set up.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game in terms of our. But I didn't like the pitch selection to Marte, being that he was really aggressive his first 2 at-bats. He swung at the first pitches, and both of them he hit hard.
Yeah.
The first one would have been a double if Bomer didn't make the play he made.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was a double.
Yeah.
And what do? They come back out and throw him a first pitch fastball, not well located, and he hits another double.
Yeah.
So leadoff double, and at this point I was like, here's where they score, right? Play of the game, though. Corbin Carroll hits a ball between Bryce and Bryson. I know I've been on Bryce a couple of times for going for balls he shouldn't have gone. This is absolutely a ball he should go for. It was within his reach. Doesn't get it. Stott makes a tremendous play.
Yeah.
But the real hero of this play is Rangers.
Yes, it is.
There is a zero. Regz, there are 0 other left-handed pitchers in baseball that can beat Corbin Carroll to first base. The announcers talked about this. But my processing of that play, his ability to be falling off the third base side of the rubber.
Yep.
And then beating Corbin Carroll to first base.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the batting average off the bat was. I don't know what the expected batting average was, but it had to be high.
Not only that, but then to also get your foot on the bag and catch the ball, because Stott had to throw it hard because it's freaking Corbin Carroll. Yeah. And Ranger didn't even look at the base.
Yeah. And they got him by a full 2 steps.
But that's what I mean. Ranger didn't even look at the base, caught the ball, and his foot was on it perfectly.
Right. Tremendous.
It was an unbelievable play.
Yeah, it really was. Now, so obviously Marte moves to third on that. If you get Marte out, he's pitching to Moreno.
Yes.
But with the runner on third, they went to Hoffman. And what a job by Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah.
I mean, to come in and get Moreno, who's been one of their better hitters in the series. He's made good contact pretty much against everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he made him look silly.
Yeah.
The slider he threw him had him falling over. Gets Moreno and then gets Christian Walker to ground out weak Trey Turner.
Just enormous there.
I mean, huge. The Phillies bullpen did a tremendous job tonight. And it's a Ranger.
Yeah.
Just outside of one guy, because I'm not getting on Craig Kimbrell. I understand people are angry with Kimbrell. There are people on Twitter ripping him apart. He's the last guy I'm angry with. Just plain and simple. So this is where this is where we're going to stop and have a conversation. Phillies come up in the top half. I said, this has got to be the inning, right? I do it here. Sal Frank, what an at-bat by Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
After getting himself buried in the count, works his way back, and gets on leadoff walk. And I say it all the time on this show. Leadoff walks will come back to get you.
Yes.
They will. Walks will come back to get you a lot of the time. Leadoff walks pretty much every time.
Yep.
Bomer infield single, we'll take it. We're gonna need a little more than 45-foot single, but we'll take it. But here's Regz. Here's the problem.
Oh my god.
So Ryan Thompson is a 6'8" sidearm throwing sinker. Okay. Stott had him 3-1. 3-1. And my immediate thought 3-1 was he is in such a place right now that he should automatically be taken.
Yes.
And then you fight like hell to walk. But you do not. The one thing Bryson Stott cannot do here is hit into a double play.
Yeah.
It's the one thing he can't do.
Yep.
But he did.
I don't know if nothing sticks out to me more than the fact that throughout the entire regular season, I don't think I saw Bryson Stott go to a knee while swinging more than twice.
Yeah, he's
and
really
in this playoffs, I've seen it at least 5 times.
He's all out on his front foot right now.
Everything is just the left side of the field doesn't exist to him. Like that pitch that he swung at was so low and outside. It was a strike. Like when you look back at it, technically it was a strike.
Oh, it's absolutely a strike.
It's not what you're looking for 3-1 to like do anything with.
Especially not when you're struggling.
And it just, everything is just that top hand is just rolling over. And it's just not, he's staring at fastballs down the middle. He's not doing his usual, like, hey, it's 2 strikes. I'm just going to foul off 7 pitches here.
Yeah.
Like he's just, everything
and
is off, man. Everything is off.
When you're going through it, your mentality goes to, I've got to either, if I don't get ahead, then I've got to try and jump on whatever's close, right? And when I do get ahead, I've got to swing because that's the pitch I'm going to hit.
Right.
There's no good approach when you're struggling the way that he's struggling.
Yeah.
Because you're talking yourself out of it either way.
Right.
Like if you're up 3-1, it's this is the pitch I've got to hit. Right? Because if I get to 3-2, I'm not the same guy.
Yeah.
But if you get behind, then you're jumpy because you're trying not to get 0-2. And that's where he is right now. And it's not been that for him all year.
He would just sit on his back foot and foul off pitches for days.
Yeah, he's
a
little
all
longer.
out on his, like you said, on his front foot, literally falling over to the point where his knee touches the ground.
He's longer than he's been, and it's causing him to roll over. It's causing him to swing and miss a lot more than he was. And look, it's got to be fixed. He's been one of our best players all year.
It's the same with Bohm though. Like Bohm has no idea what pitch is coming.
Yeah, I with Bohm though, I'll say this for Bohm. He's at least made good contact more recently, more consistently than Stott has. I think the last really good contact Bryson Stott was the Grand.
It was. You're not wrong.
Like, I mean, he had the sack fly.
The hit off Strider, right? The single off Strider.
And he had a sack fly against Strider.
Yes.
But it's been so few and far between. Yeah. Whereas like Bomer had like 6 consecutive at bats where he hit the ball right on the freaking nose. It's just right now, like a little bit of like unlucky. But I will say this for both of them. It is not impacting them defensively. They're both still playing at a very
absolutely,
very high level. The Phillies did get lucky. There was a wild pitch. Harper scored. Very risky. But that's who Bryce is.
It was a tough. I mean, the bounce makes it more risky, but like you run on that ball.
In a nothing game on the road, you absolutely run.
Yeah. Again, the bounce off the back made it closer than it ever should have been.
Yeah.
Because that ball that's like Moreno has no chance to catch that ball, and of course you're going as Harper.
Right. Real Muto did strike out. And now here's where we're gonna question Topper.
Yeah.
And we don't do it often. And look, I am not here to I'm not here to rip Topper. Like, this dude truly has outmanaged literally everybody he's managed against in the postseason,
Right.
with the exception of Dusty Baker.
In 3 series,
that
this is the first time we're talking about this. Yeah.
One pitch in that Astro series doesn't mean you got outmanaged. It means that the hitter was better than the pitcher.
Right.
This was overthinking it.
Yes.
This was we're up 2-0, and instead of going for the jugular, I'm going to try and steal an inning.
Yeah.
It's also showing us a little bit about what they think in terms of Sir Anthony right now.
Yeah, we texted about this, and I kind of put the point out is I think someone tweeted it that, and I forget who it was. It was someone from the Inquirer. It might have been Lauber, or it might have been somebody else. But they just kind of put out there, like, take this for what it is. When Kerkering faced those guys in the other game, he struck them both out. So I think it's just a little too much overthinking. I think it's overthinking. I think it's a little bit of that. And then, like I texted you, it's like, we have 3 games in a row. You can't use Sir Anthony, Jose, and, Hoff. Like, you can use them every single day. But what happened to Jose in the World Series last year? He got tired. What happened to Sir? He got tired. Like, we had to use them. Again, our bullpens are very different from last year to this year in terms of just the arm talent. But, like, they got tired. And you have 3 games in a row. And so I don't know. We haven't heard anything to say this is what happened. But to me, it was like, is it thinking about trying to save at least one of the arms to, because they're potentially pitching 3 days in a row. I'm not saying it's the right decision. No. I'm not. Because
I hear you.
I'm with you. I think it was the wrong decision.
I hear you. And here's why I'm gonna push back a little bit. So Sir Anthony didn't pitch in game 2. And they had an off day yesterday.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no reason why he couldn't come out there in the 1-run game and give you an inning and be able to come back out tomorrow.
Yes.
And then if he does give you the inning that you're hoping for, then Jose only has to
pitch 1 inning. Yeah.
He's only throwing 1 inning. So
yeah,
look, I get it. Orion Kerkering did strike out 2 of the dudes he faced, but it's a 1-run game.
Yes.
On the road.
Yes. Not
a
up
10-run game
in the 9th. Yeah,
at home.
They just want to go home. Yeah.
And I really look, it sounds like they asked Marsh after the game, like, talk to us about Kerkering, and he said the veterans pretty much surrounded him when he got in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what they are.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to find him, and they're going to support him. They're going to, tell him, look, it didn't go well, but, like, we believe in you. We trust you.
Yep.
It's what they do.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it is fair. Again, I will not second guess. I am the Topper stan of Topper stans. Like, I've backed this dude in every decision minus the Wheeler move the other night. And this one I am struggling with from the stance of, you have a chance to put them away tonight.
You just got the lead.
Game.
You just got the lead in a weird game where nothing is going right.
And I know what happened with Sir the other night. I know. I get it. I watched it. Yeah. I wasn't happy. I talked very negatively about him in our reaction. I'm right there. But I trust his ability to come out and get 3 outs in this game because he's been there, done that.
Yes.
More than I do Orion Kerkering in this spot. I think I texted you right away. It's Kerkering ...
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I was not feeling good.
I didn't really understand it when I started seeing the tweets about it either.
I didn't understand the move. Yeah. I was really confused as to why you go to the kid who's only been here for 5 weeks.
Right.
Over the guy who was dominant for you for 2 months down the stretch last year.
Yeah.
And I know what happened the other night. I know. But one of the things I love about Topper is he doesn't hesitate to put the ball back in these dudes' hands.
It was a early season Topper overthink.
I think honestly it's either that or it was, look, I got to get an inning here from somebody else. We're up 2-0. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. But then if that's the case, don't even go to Alvarado. Why are you using Alvarado?
Right. Go to Soto or Strom
Just go to Soto. Like, yeah, like if you're saying, look, I'm not trying to use my big guns in this
but then all of a sudden Alvarado's out there for 2 innings. Right.
Right. So to me, like it was almost like whoops.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like whoops. I shouldn't have done that.
The instant the first guy got a hit, he knew it was wrong.
Yeah, and now you gotta keep him out there.
Exactly. You can't take him out. The instant it happened, I'm sure he knew the instant he saw Kerkring's slider. He was like, uh-oh.
It was super flat tonight.
Uh-oh. It was just hanging. Every single one of them just hung up there.
And look, it came back to bite him.
And look, you can't. Ultimately, the players have to go out and do their job.
For
right?
sure.
But look, this kid was in high A this year.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be realistic about who we're asking to do the job. If Sir Anthony comes out there and messes it up, you can get more on Sir Anthony for being like, look, you've been in this position. You have the stuff. This is not new to you. Like, you got to be better. You're asking a kid who came from low A to go into a championship series on the road up 1. And he just didn't have it, man. Like, he didn't have it.
I am not in the least upset with, like, in the least. Like, I'm not frustrated with him.
Yeah.
I'm not.
The kid's going to figure it out. He's figuring out how to be a big league pitcher. And he's got the stuff to do it. But, like, he hasn't figured it out yet. He hasn't figured out that
it wasn't the right spot. Plain and simple.
Right. It wasn't.
It's not the right spot.
No.
Like, 1-0 game on the road.
Bring
like,
in Sir Anthony. If
this
whatever
is the high leverage.
Yes.
This is the high leverage spot you put him in.
Whatever happens, happens. You bring in Sir Anthony in that spot. That's just how it is.
If you're using this kid high leverage, it's at home.
Right.
His first high leverage spot should not be on the road in the NLCS. It just shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that's my only is like, again, I know I criticized him the other night for the Wheeler. And I still stand by what I said because you almost made my point for me earlier. Like, now we've used Alvarado in all 3 games. Actually, no, we didn't use him the other night. I take that back.
On the 10-0, yeah.
No. So he did have 2 nights off. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to run him back out. But like now you gotta think about shit, we've got to play a game 5.
Right.
Like no matter what, you've got a game 5. So and I know Wheeler's scheduled. We're gonna talk about that in a little. But like I this move baffled. So leadoff single from Tommy Pham, and then a double from Gurriel. Thomas pinch ran for Pham and scored on that. He was
God, that dude can fly.
Yeah,
Jesus,
he can move.
Those stupid corners in that stupid stadium.
Yeah, and then Pavin Smith came in and singled. Nick did a good job getting to it, keeping the runners on first and third, and that's when they brought in Jose.
Yeah.
What a play by Trey and Bryson.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
Yeah, no, it's super rare because usually when you see it happen, and they were fully in.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't think I've ever really seen it either. Now what was interesting to me was that Gurriel didn't go.
Yeah.
Because if you do go, then you force Bryson to make a perfect throw to the plate.
Yes.
Which is going to be really hard.
Yep.
With the angle he's coming across the bag. But the announcers made a good point that Bohm being where he was
cover the base,
made him think about, they're going to throw back behind.
Right, Trey's going to throw behind me if I get too far off here.
And then Alvarado, did your TV go black?
Yes. After he caught it, I saw him catch it at least, but I was like, what? I don't understand. Like,
well, I saw him catch it, but he blocked it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't clean. It like kicked out of his glove.
I didn't even see that. I thought he caught it.
And it was freaking Perdomo. So I was like, here we go.
Right.
So they got out of it. What a job by Jose. Like
3 pitches.
3 pitches.
3 outs with a guy on third.
Unbelievable. But totally believable.
Yeah. Crazy.
At the same time. The Phillies come out
but
and they bring
can we just say quickly also, like the Diamondbacks are giving you this game. Like, look at what just happened.
Yeah. But you also, again, like, you're also making my point about why I'm not.
Right, but it's like you almost thought like, all right, now they're going to come out and do something because they just captured the momentum back.
Where we were at in the order, no, I didn't really think that.
I had hope. You know what I mean? Azzy? I had some hope.
Unless Nicky comes up and hits a bomb right away.
I just was hoping he gets on base. You know what I mean? I was hoping he was just going to hit something hard.
And he, he did not have a good night tonight.
No.
Like everybody else, to be honest with you. So he struck out for the third time.
You want to talk about the text you sent me?
We'll talk about it. Yeah. Let's finish this inning.
All right.
So Nick strikes out, Brandon strikes out, Rojas strikes out. Here's what I want to talk about Rojas. Actually, no, not yet. We're gonna wait on the Rojas for a second. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it here after the bottom of the eighth. Let's talk about the text. So I know exactly what's going through Regz. As soon as Nick Castellanos swings, I open my phone up and I see Regz' name with 3 dots. So I open our message chain and I said, Nick is fine. Take a deep breath, or don't even say it.
Yeah,
I think I said, don't even
say it. Yeah, don't say it.
I said, Nick is fine. Don't even say it.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, I wasn't going to say anything. I said, I saw the 3 dots. I knew you were texting right away. And what were you going to say? You were going to say, I hope Nick is.
Yeah, I was going to say that it sucked that he's missing fastballs that were only like 94 miles an hour.
You know why he was missing fastballs?
Because he was swinging out of his absolute
He was swinging
ass.
out of his freaking shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Kevin Long's going to pull him aside and say, Nick.
Yeah.
You know why you were hitting home runs?
Just slap it around this place, right? Like you could hit it anywhere here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are.
I think it's all of them. I think it's Bryce. I think it's Kyle. I think it's Trey sometimes. Like, I think it's Marsh gets in this sometimes where he feels like he's got to hit it like harder than he needs to.
Marsh had a really good at bat this inning, but credit on the
just
the fastball for strike 3. Yeah, that was a good pitch. It's a good pitch. The their 8th, 9th inning guys are really good. Seawold and Ginkel are both.
And again though, but they had to use them. Like
they did, but they can probably use them again tomorrow.
Yes, no, absolutely.
So, all right. So bottom of the 8th, they bring Alvarado back out, strikes out Marte, which unbelievable.
It was a miracle.
Right? Like,
yep.
Yeah.
The only time he didn't reach base.
Which shows you how good Jose Alvarado is.
Yeah, he really doesn't. Even from the right side, doesn't see that sinker well.
No, that cut is just filth too.
Yeah.
This was a tremendous play by Johan Rojas, by the way. Drive.
Oh yeah,
that ball that's a tremendous
scorched.
But the difference between that one and the early one, and then the one we're going to talk about next, is that ball doesn't get up in the dome.
Right.
Like it doesn't get up in the dome.
Yeah.
And it stays on a plane. So he sees that off the bat and he can read it.
Yep.
The 2 balls that he had trouble with tonight were both up in the dome.
Yep.
So I don't know if the dome's going to be open tomorrow night or not, because we got to touch on that. They intentionally walked Christian Walker, which I thought was a great.
Yes.
You don't give that dude a chance there. Because with Alec, if it's still Tommy Pham,
exactly. Yeah.
Maybe. But with Alec Thomas on deck, you definitely you go do it. So here's what I want to talk about before we jump into the remainder of the. First of all, Jose Alvarado threw, this is important for tomorrow, 15 pitches, 13 strikes. Should be available tomorrow after 2 days off.
Yes.
Should be available tomorrow after 2 days off.
Let's hope they don't need him.
That'd be great. Like they didn't the other night.
Exactly.
When I said I'd love to win this game like 10-2.
Let's get some soda.
And then they won 10-0. Yep. Yeah. Which again, I don't know
what's going on.
To me. That's weird to me.
I don't see any reason why this guy doesn't come in.
Not seeing him feels very weird to me. Okay. So we got to talk about Rojas.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about this outfield being huge, and he him being in that outfield is going to be important for them. Honestly, dude, it didn't help tonight.
Yeah.
So look, do you consider Pache out there? Like
I thought about,
I think it's a better at bat.
I've thought about this since you said it. I think the answer is yes. I think you need to give the kid a blow. Because of what you talked about. Because of what you talked about. Christian Pache has been in this league for a long time.
He's played in this stadium. He's played in domes all around the league.
He's gonna read those balls better. You're probably getting a better at bat. I'm not saying he's going to be more productive, but you're probably just right now at this point.
It's not going to be. It's not as much auto.
Johan doesn't know what's going on at the plate.
No. And again, I don't know that.
God bless him. Like, did we think he was going to be a stud at the plate during the playoffs? No,
we just wanted.
Did we think it was going to be this bad? No,
but it's bad.
But if you're not giving the defense, if he's not seeing the ball well out of the dome, like you have to bring. I don't think you lose that much with Pache.
I mean, Pache's still he's a plus defender out.
Absolutely.
You know
any of those balls that Rojas got to today, I'd argue that Pache gets to them the same way.
Yeah. Now, my only question is when they've played at CBP. No, I guess Rojas was playing center field in all those games. So my guess is Pache would play center and Marsh would play left still.
Yes.
That'd be my guess.
Yes.
I think it's something you got to consider.
I think
at this point.
I think almost it's worth it now to give him.
Dude, he's hitting .05.
And it's also, if you're not seeing the ball through the dome, like you've lost what is keeping you in the lineup.
The dome might be open tomorrow because of it being an 8:00 game.
Yeah.
5:00 there. It was closed today because it was 99 degrees.
Yeah, but again, what's the difference going to be from 1:00 from 2:00 to 5:00?
5. Yeah, maybe
it's going to be 97 degrees. Like,
you know what? Actually, let's take a look at what the weather's going to be tomorrow.
I just think at this point in this stadium, if we're still at home, I say let the kid ride. He knows how to play that outfield. You know what I mean? There's no issue.
Right.
I just think at this point, he's clearly, like you said, it's a great point by you. He's not seeing the ball well when it gets up there. Christian Pache will. Christian Pache has played in the major leagues for a long time. He's giving you all the same defense.
They're playing at 5 tomorrow night there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be 101 degrees there.
Yeah, that thing's going to be closed.
Dome's going to be closed. Yeah.
I just think you need to give the kid a blow. He's all over the place. He missed some defensive plays tonight. It's time to just bring in the veteran. Again, I don't care about the offense. Just he's going to play the outfield a little bit better. He's going to see the ball a little bit better. Give the kid a rest. And if you got him, bring him back. Hopefully he doesn't get back to Philly. But you bring him back then.
I think it's time.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's time. So top of the 9th, Schwarber flies out. He got jammed. I
know. I said the same thing.
Trey grounded out. Bryce worked another walk. Great job by him there again to get a base runner. Then stole second.
Yeah.
The Alec Bohm at bat was weird. Should have been rung up on the 8th pitch of the bat.
Yes, he should have.
That was in the zone, but was rung up on the 9th pitch of the bat, which wasn't in the zone.
Yeah.
So, give and you take, right? And it's Dan Iasonia doing his job. And then the bottom of the 9th rolls around, and Iasonia strikes again. Yeah. The first pitch of the at bat was literally right down the middle
literally
right down the middle for a ball. And at that point it's 1-0, then it's 2-0, you're fighting back. 0-1 and 1-0 are very different.
All I said to my wife was, this at bat is so much different if that ball is called properly.
Yeah, for sure.
Craig doesn't pull the next pitch.
Well, Gurriel, he was livid with the umpire. Rifling balls at the dugout.
Right.
And Gurriel down in counts is far more likely to chase.
Yes.
He strikes out a ton.
Yeah.
We talked about him on the trade deadline show because we thought that might be the move the Phillies made. And we were like, well, we already have enough strikeouts. So I'd rather not have him.
It was just,
he will strike out.
It was such a huge call.
Yeah. And then Pavin Smith hit that ball up the middle after Gurriel stole second. Great job by Bryson keeping it in the infield, first and third. And then what a play by Trey.
Yes.
Another bad job by the Diamondbacks there to not advance on the throw.
Yes. And the
keep the double
tag
play.
that took forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could have been standing there.
And
Like
Smith can run.
Yeah. You could have been standing there before JT even tags Gurriel.
Right. And then the Perdomo walk, which I feel like Marsh was rung up on a pitch
very similar. It was a strike. He missed it. It was a strike.
Yeah. I mean, it was close, but it was close enough that throughout the night it was being called. Again, I want to see the consistency of the strike zone.
He had called two balls outside the strike zone and down and away.
I know. So technically they the inning wouldn't have been where it was, right? Because it would have been strikeout. Then Stott's probably playing at a decent depth,
right?
In the Pavin Smith at bat, ground out, and then you get Perdomo with again all things. Right. They didn't win the game, whatever.
Right.
Whatever, right? Marte singled to end it. So let's just sort of regroup here and consider all the things that it took. A lot is what it took, right? But we talk about the offense, and the offense. Look, we can talk about Topper putting Kirkering in, but 3 hits aren't going to win you baseball games.
That's exactly right.
It's simple as that.
When you look at the scoreboard, it was 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1.
Yep.
If this offense shows up at all, this is a 6-2 game.
Easily. So the reasons why it didn't show up. One, you're seeing a pitcher that you've never seen before. And that's a thing. Yeah. It's a thing. Like, look, Kevin Long said it. Yeah, there's tape, there's film. He said it in his interview. But it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You can watch all the film you want, but until you see a dude in the box, it's not the same thing. And credit him, dude. Like, he pitched well. Yeah. Like, he moved the ball around. His pitches were, I often think, like, when we complain about the Phillies roster offense not hitting, right? I think about other teams saying the same thing about our guys. Like, this is frustrating. Like, why aren't we hitting this guy? Not named Wheeler, but like, I'm sure Diamondback fans were like, why aren't we hitting Ranger Suarez?
Right.
They don't know better.
Yeah.
They don't know better. They've seen Ranger like once or twice.
Yeah.
Sometimes a pitcher just does his job. And tonight, you got to tip your cap to Phi. He did. He did his job tonight.
Combined with the very poor approaches.
Right. But sometimes poor approaches are a result of a guy throwing effective strikes, but effective balls.
Yes. And with an umpire who you have no idea what he's going to call.
Right.
It's like.
And you start to overthink it.
What do you swing at? What do you not swing at? What? Right. Yeah.
Some other things that to consider, not excuses, but things to just consider. You're going out west and playing a game. I talk about this a lot.
We talked about this all regular season.
Yes. When you go out west and play baseball,
an afternoon game.
It's different.
Right.
It's different. Right. Like now I actually like that they played the 5:00 East Coast time first.
Yeah.
Rather than the 8:00 West Coast, 11:00 East Coast.
Yeah.
I actually like that they did that. They got 2 days to adjust before the 8:00 game on the West Coast. The other thing, Regz, to consider, they have not played a road game since Game 2 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which was last Monday.
And if I recall,
a week and a half.
If I recall correctly, this is the first time they've had home field advantage in 2 years in the playoffs.
Yes. So they have not played a road game in a week and a half. So they haven't traveled, which in baseball is a long
time. Yeah.
Like it's when we say, we have a 10-game homestand, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's enormous. Right. So that's another, like you had a week and a half without to go on the road on the West Coast.
Right. You're not just going to Florida. You're not. Yeah.
Right. So there's that to consider. The other thing to consider is that stadium was dead. Like there was no energy in that.
Yeah.
And we know how the Phillies
in the bottom of the ninth, the people were sitting down.
Absolutely. So like that's another, like they're going to have to find a way to energize themselves.
I also think they weren't seeing the ball great. And for whatever reason, I don't think hitters were seeing the ball very well.
Frank Core said that them not taking batting practice was questionable.
Yeah.
Because going there and playing in that dome, and look, I will tell you, I even thought the television coverage was weird in the dome. It's dark.
Yeah.
It looked like I was watching it on like standard TV and not HD.
Yeah, but then you'd see like sunbeams. You're like, wait, I thought it was 8:30 at night, and you're like, oh no, it's 4:00 in the afternoon.
Right. So I think that messed with them a little bit. I'm certain you'll see them taking batting practice tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm certain there's going to be different approaches tomorrow.
And I'm certain you're going to see Rojas in center field getting fly balls just hit at him constantly.
If he's playing.
Let's hope not. I think the kid needs a blow.
So again, I said this to you after the game. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Like I am still incredibly calm. Roger, friend of the show, said, this is now a series. And I told him I disagreed. I don't think it's a series yet.
Yeah.
I think it's a series if the Phillies lose tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I believe now it's a best of 3.
Yeah.
But all the Phillies have to do is win one on the road. That's it. Now that one needs to be tomorrow. I will say that up front. It needs to be tomorrow because I don't want to go in to the Gallon in Arizona game 2-2.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
So you got to win tomorrow. I think there's no doubt it's. I anticipate the offense coming out pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I think it's an offense that, we've heard Nick Castellanos say it. We respond when we punch in the face. Today they got punched in the face.
Yeah.
They got punched in the face. It wasn't the same way as Atlanta. The momentum, we had texted back and forth about momentum. I said, look, they've been walked off this year. This isn't the first time this team's.
Yeah. I think it was more so the feeling of that game where it almost was like Atlanta didn't really, they won it. Yes. But like you said, they had to win it and they barely won it.
You mean Arizona?
I mean, in both those games, like in game 2 against Atlanta and this one, it's like,
I got you.
They scored 2 runs.
Right.
They didn't blow you out. It wasn't 7-1.
Right.
Like you put a rookie in and they scored a run on him. Like, okay. Yeah. And, I just think that, and it's also like, look, Marte scares me. The guy's hot right now. He's a great baseball player. We knew this coming in here.
Yeah.
They've kept Carroll down, knock on wood. I think they can continue to do that, which has been fantastic. And then when you go through the rest of the lineup, like, I know Moreno's hit some balls hard.
Yeah.
Like Walker has just been nothing, not great, really. And thank you. And Gurriel again, okay, but are you like Alec Thomas? Like, no, you're not scared of that guy. You're scared of his speed once he gets on base. But are you scared of him going 3 for 4? So it's just, I think you're exactly right. I think they had to win this game to have any chance in this series.
Yeah.
They came out and they scored 2 runs and your offense didn't show up.
Yeah.
If half your offense shows up, you win this game 4-2.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's it.
So I'm going to go back to the point. Look, they've been walked off this year. And if we went back through games that they were walked off in, I'm sure there were games where the offense was just not existent, right? And they ended up getting walked off as a result of that. It's just baseball.
Yeah.
It's just that is baseball.
Mm-hmm.
To the greatest extent that baseball can be baseball, that's it.
Yeah.
And I want to tip my cap to Pfott, who was really good today. A little bit of help from the home plate umpire, a little bit of help from the Phillies offense, a little bit of stuff everywhere. But the guy pitched well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he pitched well. All that being said, I think, what's not baseball is an 8-5-3 double play to ending.
Yeah.
And the Phillies came back after that livid.
Yeah.
Now, I guarantee you that the Diamondbacks aren't in the clubhouse saying stuff that's going to get. But I also know the Phillies have a bunch of veterans. Brandon Marsh said it best. They've already forgotten it. It's already passed.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. It's not a game that to me, the Phillies should look at and say, yeah, wow, we should be
Right.
because they came out and beat us today.
Right. And because a bunch of things went wrong or like something like that. Like that's
There
not
weren't
the case.
they didn't make key errors.
Right.
The pitching still was the pitching.
Yes, it was. 2 runs, people. 2 runs.
Right. And one came off of a questionable managerial decision and the other came off of some really questionable.
Yes.
So, you know, it's not a game. Now, again, I say this with the caveat of if they lose tomorrow, I reserve the right to be really concerned.
Yeah.
And I will be. Do I think they're going to lose tomorrow? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't. The Phillies are doing tomorrow what the Diamondbacks did tonight. They're putting a guy on the mound that the Diamondbacks have not seen. Now, is there going to be rust? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we don't pay for that rust.
Yeah.
I think from what we know, Christopher Sanchez, statistically during the season, his changeup was one of the best pitches in baseball among starters across Major League Baseball, not just the National League, across baseball. If he is control tomorrow, we saw what Ranger did to them.
Yeah.
And they might very well struggle with that. And I do believe, I mean, Christopher Sanchez after the game tonight looked very deadpan and said, I'm going to be ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be ready to go tomorrow. I'm sure that they'll have people ready down in the pen just in case. Like, they're not going to mess around.
Yep.
Because they know they got to win tomorrow. So I'd assume Strom's going to be ready
Mm-hmm.
to go. I'd assume Lorenzen's going to be ready to go. They're going to have guys who can give them a little bit of length right behind them, ready to go.
Yeah.
They might have like a stopper ready to go, like a Soto,
Yeah.
you know, ready right away. Just in case like things go sideways. But it's going to come down to whether or not they hit man supply. I'm going to get back to the starting pitching here in a second. We said what we're going to say about Sanchez. Tomorrow he could really set and cement himself as a hero in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
look, Rangers changeup was very effective tonight.
Right. And actually Sanchez is much better than Rangers.
Yes.
His is unbelievably really good when it's working.
Yeah.
But this is a dude who saved them from the perspective of a fifth starter
Oh yeah.
when they didn't have anybody throwing.
Yeah. And when Painter gets hurt, right?
And he comes up after Falter was terrible.
Yeah.
And saved them in that spot. And it was really good pretty much all year. We kept waiting for that meltdown.
Yeah.
And it never came.
No, it never did.
He just looked more and more confident every time he went out. Now he had some late in the, but the Braves have seen him a ton of times at that point.
You're not keeping that offense, yeah.
Right. Unless you're Wheeler or Nola, like it's different.
Yeah.
So they're starting Mantiply tomorrow.
Who pitched tonight, right?
No, he pitched on Monday or on Tuesday. Pitched game 2.
Oh yeah, different guy.
Or Monday.
Right.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
One of the two.
Tuesday. He pitched Tuesday when the game I
He's
was
a
at.
lefty. Yeah, he's a lefty.
He gave up the first 4 spot, right? Because he came in after Kelly.
He did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. So, but here's the question, Regz, and this is what I want to talk about lineup wise. The Phillies have a chance to change it by them doing this. They can really say to themselves or say to their, players, we're going to mix up the lineup a little bit tonight. I still think Brandon Marsh is playing, but this is an opportunity to move Bryson Stott down. This is a chance to move him down and let him breathe a little bit. If I'm Topper, or if you're Topper, let me ask it this way. What are you doing? Look, the top 2 are the top 2. Schwarber, Turner are the top 2. What are you doing after that tomorrow?
Bryce Harper.
He's hitting third.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need Bryce Harper getting the most at bats possible in playoff games.
Okay, that's fine. I'm curious. I'm curious just because of the lefty starting.
I hear you. I just think don't overthink this. You need Bryce Harper to have more potential at bats than Alec Boehm right now.
I'm fine with
I don't
that.
care who it's against. It could be a 6-armed alien, and I need Bryce Harper getting more at bats.
So let me ask you this then. Do you do this? Hear me out. Schwarber, clearly. Turner, clearly. Harper, fine. Real Muto, Castellanos,
Stott, Bohm, Marsh,
Stott,
Pache.
Bohm, Marsh, Pache. Or do you move Marsh into where we have Stott with how much he's struggling and how much Bohm's struggling? So now they're hitting 7-8.
I think I'd rather the other way than having Marsh hit where Stott is.
Okay, that's fine. And honestly, I don't know that any of it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Moving guys now doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
They're all comfortable. They've been hitting here for a little bit. And again, it's a bullpen game. So they're going to be moving dudes in and out.
I wouldn't mind flip-flopping Casty or JT with Bohm.
I think I'd be better with JT right.
Either one. Like I said, either one I'm fine with. If you want to put JT after Bryce and then go Stott, Castellanos, Bohm, or whatever, however you want to do that. Yeah. I think that's fine. I don't think moving Bohm down is a bad thing right now.
Okay.
And with JT's like sort of past in this park, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was just sort of a
don't overthink it though. Don't not get Bryce Harper more at bats.
No,
don't do it.
I think because it's a bullpen game.
Yeah.
I think it's a chess match.
Yeah.
And they're using a lefty to see if they can get Bryce hitting.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Topper is smarter than, because again, Mantiply isn't coming in dominating people.
Right.
You can get a guy or two on base early and find a way to scratch a run or two across. We did it the other night against him. So this is the guy that bounced the ball back the middle against.
Right.
So, we'll see. All right. So we are Bryce Harper hitting third for sure. That's where I'm at too.
Absolutely.
I just wanted your thoughts, especially again, with it being a bullpen game, they're going to be moving guys in. Mantiply is pitching 1 inning. Right? And then they might go to that dude they brought in the other night, Smith or Rogers. I think it's Rogers.
Yeah.
To give them 2 or 3 innings.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal.
Do not lose to the Arizona Diamondbacks pitching a bullpen game in a National League Championship Series.
I mean, I hope not. So Chris Sanchez goes tomorrow. Now, here's my bold take and my question of the day. Hear me out. Okay? Hear me out, Regz. Say you win tomorrow, right? And your offense starts, they click again. They have the one game that doesn't go well, and then tomorrow they come out and click again. Mind you, they did lose the first game in Arizona in June, and then they scored 15 runs the next night.
Yes.
So they can absolutely do something similar to that come tomorrow. Say that the offense turns it back up, you feel good, you're up 3-1, right? Gallen's throwing game 5. Here's my question. Taijuan Walker is still on the NLCS roster. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But do you put him on the mound in game 5? Here's why. If you're up 3-1, knowing that if you lose, whatever, you've got Zach Wheeler at home for game 6, and then you've got Aaron Nola at home for game 6. Look, I know we love Ranger. I get that entirely. But if you go up 3-1 and you have to go to a game 7 for some ungodly reason, at least now you've got Ranger lined up for game 1, right? That's what that puts you in line for.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you lose, that's not what I'm saying. Then you have to go Wheeler, right? Also, if you somehow beat Zach Gallen with Taijuan Walker on the road, now you got Wheeler lined up for game 1 of the World Series. I don't know. My thought is there's a 20% chance of that happening. I think if you win tomorrow, Topper's likely going to Wheeler and we're winning this game.
Yes.
We're ending it here. Obviously, this Rangers Astros
is going longer, right?
It's 2-2, right. So we're at least going 6 games there,
right?
So you might still be able to set your rotation if you get Wheeler to win. But I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on that? Am I way off? Why is Walker on this roster if he's not even being thought of?
I have no idea. I think the only reason is that it truly was a game time decision of him or Sanchez. Honestly, I think that's the only reason. And like, who are you going to carry anyway? Who are you going to put on the team? Like, what other bat?
I mean, another bat. I mean, why not Reese?
I just don't think Reese is ready. Like,
it sounds like he is.
I mean, again, I don't know, right? I'm not there. I never talked to him. Like, I don't know.
Never talked to him.
But I think
I mean, if you did, I'd be mad at you because you didn't tell me about it.
You know, I would never not tell you that. I just think that it was truly a game time decision of how this game went to decide if it was Taijuan or Sanchez. And I think seeing Rangers change up, do what it did, I think made the decision for Topper.
See, I think
Honestly.
they actually made the decision before this.
And maybe he did. But I don't think they made the decision when the rosters got announced. So I think at that point, without a bat that you think is truly significant, like without another bench bat that you truly think like just cannot not be on the roster, I just think you put Taijuan there because it just gives you the option. And like, look, what happens if he does get shelled for 2 innings? Like maybe you just bring Taijuan out of the bullpen and just be like, go see what you can do, man. You know, I think I'd rather Taijuan Walker than Mike Lorenzen, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I struggle with that only because like if you're saying Ty, go keep us in the game, he's never pitched out.
I'm not saying keep it in the game. Just like
actually, he might have. I lie about
just
that.
go out there and eat up innings, man.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're totally against my if they win tomorrow, put Ty out there in game 5. You're totally against.
Fuck that. Give me Wheeler in game 5 and end this thing.
All right. I mean, I thought it was actually pretty creative.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm disagreeing.
I mean, it's not a great idea. I'll be honest.
I'm disagreeing.
I've had far better ideas. If we're calling it spade a spade,
yeah.
I've had far better ideas.
That's fair.
I think
I'm disagreeing
my
with this
mindset. My mindset was like you're setting yourself up. You know you can win 1 of 2 games at home. Like you know that. You've been dominant at home the entire postseason.
Yes.
4-0 at what? 6-0 at home. 6-0 at home at this point.
I don't want to give them any hope.
Neither do I. But I'm also thinking to myself, Zach Gallen's been one of the better pitchers in baseball at this stadium. So why waste Wheeler?
I understand, but if you're up, like I expect them to be, you go out, you end the series, and then Wheeler gets his rest because we know that, like you said, that Houston Ranger series is very different. I think that plays into it.
Yeah.
Like I think they have to look at everything.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't, like I said, I think it's like less than a 20% chance.
Yeah.
I know that listener of the show Adam has been waiting for the Taijuan Walker shove game.
Yeah.
And I want to give him a little bit of hope that maybe if the Phillies win game 4, that they would put Ty on the mound in a game 5 up 3-1.
Sorry, Adam.
Regz doesn't like it.
I don't want to see Taijuan Walker up 3-1. I want to see Zach Wheeler, and I want to see us win the game.
I agree with you. I just don't want to waste Zach Wheeler. That's kind of where I stand.
Again, not a bad reasoning.
I don't want to waste him. And look, Taijuan Walker's very well rested. I believe he was a Diamondback. So, there's a little bit of revenge there. Check that. Before I go into my quick fixated.
Yeah.
Did we get an update on Mike McClinsky?
I did. I looked it up. He was in the 94th percentile of he had 94% consistency, which was I'm going to look it up one more time.
Oh, sorry. I should have asked you earlier.
I literally just clicked off of it like a second ago. All right. Nope. I got it. We're fine. So accuracy, he was in the 46th percentile, 94% accurate. Expected, I don't know what all these mean, to be quite honest. Expected accuracy, he was towards the top end, 74.
So it means he was accurate on the expected pit. Like
yes.
If it was expected to be a strike, he called it a strike.
Accuracy above expected, 37%. I don't know what that is. Consistency, 48th percentile, 96.3, 93.6 consistent. Favor, he was in the 9th percentile, 0.6 runs of favor per game. So I guess that's either way.
Yeah.
So that so in that low of a
it's like a half a run. That's
right.
That's a thing.
Yeah. And then I don't know what leverage means, but that's just one of the
wonderful. Things. This is wonderful. Okay. Taijuan Walker did spend 3 years with
Yeah. I don't think he's in the list of best umpires, if I had to guess. Let's look at it.
All right. Well, that's good. That's
if exciting. We're just looking from top to bottom here. Where's Mike?
What do you have it sorted by?
It's literally just best umpires.
Oh, okay.
Where is it?
He's probably not.
I think he's very middle of the road.
Okay. That's good.
But again, better than Dan Iasonia.
Oh, we'll see.
Who's an absolute jamoke.
Dan was awful. All right, real quick Phxiated. Here's my Phxiated. Are you ready?
Yes.
Everyone relax.
Is this just you and I? Did I press stop recording? Or are you just talking to me now?
No, I'm talking to everybody. You just freaking relax. Like when you can be stressed if they lose tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then we can all be stressed together. I will feel stressed if they lose tomorrow, I promise.
Yeah.
Do I think they lose tomorrow? No.
Yeah.
I don't think they lose tomorrow. I think that this is a team who understands what happened tonight. I think it's a team who knows what they have to do tomorrow. I don't believe it's a team who presses. I expect that they jump on man supply tomorrow.
Yeah.
And get some runs early. Let Christopher Sanchez settle in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect a shutout like what Ranger did. I think that the Diamondbacks will score, but I think we're going to outscore tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's my Phxiated. Just relax. Everybody breathe. We're going to be fine. Okay. We're going to be fine. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. We know it was lengthy tonight, but we had a lot to get to. Regz, are we recapping tomorrow?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
I'll be home, so I got nothing else,
All right.
I'll be here.
We're recapping tomorrow. We are doing it, everybody. We are doing it. So we will see you tomorrow evening or Saturday, whenever you listen. And we look forward to a recap of what we hope is a win so that the Phillies go up 3-1 and Taijuan Walker. Until then, make sure you click subscribe if you watch us on YouTube. If you follow us on where you get your podcasts, awesome. Thank you. If you don't, go ahead and click follow, subscribe, and like, and rate us as high as you possibly can. 5 stars, preferably. After that, go ahead to all your social media accounts. On Twitter, at MikeDrop5 on Twitter, at with this on Twitter. Make sure you click the merchandise link in the show description. And until tomorrow night, take care of yourselves. Take care of. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Game 4 tomorrow, 8:07. Go Phils.
Go Phils. Beat these stupid fucking snakes.
Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.